Good evening, everyone. Welcome to another edition of the Gray Area. I am Mr. Bennett with my partner, as always,
This is Sparta!
the Ghost of Sparta, aka Peter, aka Panagiotis. Thank you all for joining us on this first Sunday in December as we start to close out the year. So we're already in the middle of holiday season. Hope all of you had a joyous and friendly Thanksgiving, and with your friends or with your families. Hope you didn't eat too much. But even if you did, if you took care of your diet most of the year, you should be able to eat the way you want to. That's the way I look at it. I like, let me take care of myself 80% of the time. So on the holidays where I need to get down, I can certainly do that. But we appreciate everyone who's joining us tonight. Thank you for everyone who's supporting us so far. Shout out to Catellia, who's in here tonight. Shout out to Milani. And our man, Lost in Translation, is also in the house tonight. Certainly good to see you guys with us this evening. And I'm feeling pretty good. My Steelers won again. Russell Wilson certainly cooked Cincinnati today. And then the Ravens lost. So, again, gave us a nice little cushion there. Unfortunately, my Jets, I will say my Jets, I've known the Jets longer than Peter's been alive. So, certainly I'm very familiar. Yes, I go back to the New York Sack Exchange, bro. So I go all the way back with those guys. And unfortunately, certainly things didn't go their way today. So again, hopefully just get to the
Do
season.
not get me started with that.
Let's get the number one draft pick, and maybe get Shedeur Sanders. Maybe he can help you guys out and get him into New York. But certainly feeling good here. But honestly, I can't wait to get back to work, to be honest with you. But again, I want to thank everybody for being here. As you see scrolling at the bottom of the screen, certainly we're asking as you come in, and make sure you hit the like button as you come in tonight. Not only here, but we're also simulcasting on the Sparta HQ network. So make sure if you can go over there and be so kind to hit the like button, support his algorithm that Peter's got going on in his channel as well. But certainly consider supporting the BMU network. We try to bring you content 7 days a week in these spaces, and so certainly so a Cash App, the Black Man Unfiltered, will be greatly appreciated in this time. But yeah, like I said, certainly I certainly enjoy my time off. But like I said, I'm ready to get back to where for me, it's like the more time I have off, the worse I do. I'm actually, in some ways, I'm a little bit reticent about the vacation that I'm going on in a couple weeks because again, me
If it was
being
approved.
away from stuff too long, it's already in, bro. It's already in. Either I get my approval or you get my resignation. One way
Or you
the
get
other.
flat tires. That too. I know where you live now, so don't forget that. Salt works great in gasoline.
But hey, just really looking forward to that. But tonight, ladies and gentlemen, this is our call-in show. So again, we're gonna have if Boss Man certainly hit the link at the top of the chat. So again, if you guys just want to come in and just chat it up with us, just say hi to us. Certainly we appreciate it. We're going to just have a free-forming conversation tonight. But certainly, if you guys want to come up and just say hi to us or engage in some of the topic or share some, how things with you went with you over your Thanksgiving break, certainly we'd love to hear from you guys as well. And so again, this is open mic, unfiltered. We don't know who's getting on. The only thing we do ask, if you do get on, but we're gonna make one exception. All right, we're gonna make one exception. All right, so we've been trying to get Catellia in these spaces for a long time. So Catellia, if you want to come up and just say hi to us, we'll make sure we'll keep the camera off of you. We'll make an exception here, but we'd like to hear from you if you're out there. But anybody who wants to call in, just say hi to us tonight and engage this tonight. To do that, we're only going to be here for a couple hours. One thing about the show is obviously both me and Peter have pretty demanding jobs, and so we want to keep the conversation interesting and complete, but also keep it concise. We're not built to be having those 5-6 hour streams like some other shows do or whatever. So but certainly we encourage people, certainly to join us and just interact with us. But Pete, I want to ask first of all, once again, happy birthday. So you are in your last year of your 30s. This is the end of the line. So this is like the last ride for you. How have your 30s been, and what do you plan to do in this last year before you hit the big 4-0? What do you
I have
plan
a
to be
plan for
doing?
that already.
All right, so what do you plan to do in that, and how do you
I
intend
haven't
to
really
spend this
set
last year?
a date for it. I'm not sure I'm going to do before I hit 40 or after,
Mhm.
but your boy's crazy. Thank you, Lost. I am very, very fucked up in the head. I'm going to say it like that. I'm going to jump out of a plane.
Yeah, I know you talked about that. That's yeah. I mean, I've known people who've done it. You know what I mean? So
You should join
it's
us.
not like it's the foreign thing. I don't think I would do it because I
Sissy.
won't say I'm afraid of heights or whatever, but I don't know. Has anyone in the chat has anyone even dared or even considered jumping out of an airplane? And I know they do it. You know, it's like a guy. It's not you're not jumping that by yourself. You don't do that until you're like professionally trained. But there's a guy. There's like a pilot, if you will, who basically he's the one who's jumping. You're just along for the ride, and they go with you. So, how many people in the chat would even be bold or brave enough to even consider doing that? But yeah, but I don't think it. I don't think it has a high failure rate. I would say that much. So again, your chances of failure are very remote. But boss man, I thought you would have
join us
skydive
because
already.
I'm
So
going
the
to do it in
military guys
Maryland
don't
anyway.
count because I thought military guys don't count. I thought those guys. I thought y'all were doing all that kind of stuff, jumping out of helicopters and planes, all that kind of stuff. So Braxton the Snake Fiend, he's in here tonight. So again, he says he wants to go skydiving. So there you go. Young guy, wants to. At first, you don't succeed. Don't try. They should put that on the plane when you get there to go to skydive. That should be on the side of the plane. And that should be the logo going forward. So just make sure that you really want to do that. But Lawson saying, I'm 6'4" and about as high as I'm gonna get. I hear you, bro. Yeah,
Okay,
but
so my plan originally was, and it still is, it's not going to change, because all the guys who are going to jump are in Maryland. So we're going to do it out of Maryland.
there you go.
So boss man, you're coming now. You're ready, invited. You're locked in. So I don't hear another word because that's your area, the MV area. So CQ's definitely going in. King is a maybe still, because he's above the weight limit because there is a weight limit on that. I know he's.
Oh, is there? I didn't know that. Yeah.
Yeah, it's a weight limit. So he's a little over it.
Indoor.
No, they do have indoor skydiving.
Lonnie. Sorry, indoor doesn't count. That thing when you go in there, you're just kind of floating in the air, like the air is pushing you up or whatnot. That doesn't count.
Yeah,
But I would do that though. I would definitely check that out.
So the plan is to mess with doing before before the 4.0. That sounds so freaking weird. Or after. We're trying to plan that out. It's not cheap, obviously. It's gonna be a little pricey.
Yeah.
So whoever wants to join us, I'm like Paul already invited himself, so definitely he's coming.
I didn't say I was coming.
Here you are. You don't have a choice.
No, I'm not. No, that
That's
is
my
not on
birthday
my
gift
bucket.
from you to me.
That is not on my bucket list.
Too bad. I'll make it your bucket list.
No.
I'm gonna try to do the boom.
How about this?
Have you heard?
I'll in the spirit of generosity, I will even donate some funds towards your trip. I will live vicariously through your experience. So I'll donate a few bucks since you said it's a pricey thing. I'll give you a couple bills towards your effort. How about that? But nah, I have no interest in jumping out of an airplane or anything else. I don't even want to go like. Yeah, have you ever dived off a diving platform?
Yeah, of course.
Like, no, I'm not a diving platform. I'm not talking about just a springboard into a pool. I'm talking about like the 3 or 4 or 5 meter diving platforms where you got to climb up the stairs and then jump off.
Oh no, I didn't jump off it. I got pushed off it.
You got pushed off of a diving platform.
Yeah, it's a long story. I was young and stupid.
Go ahead. Share what happened.
I went up there thinking like it'd be cool to kind of show off, some karate moves. My instructor was behind me, and he didn't like that. He kicked my ass, literally kicked me in the ass, and I went, wee, and I'm like, yeah. When you're not prepared to jump off that thing, and you get kicked, the water kind of stings a little, just a little.
Oh yeah, I mean, especially if you hit your face. I mean, it's like getting slapped. I mean, no, you can hurt yourself. And if you're coming off of, like I said, a diving platform, you're like 20, 25 feet in the air coming off that thing. Nah, that water hurts. I mean, you can do some serious damage to yourself if you don't land correctly. So I wouldn't risk that on anybody. But I don't even want to dive off of that. You know what I'm saying? So I've dived off of a springboard into like a 10-foot pool or whatever. But I'm not jumping. I'm not climbing up that thing and jumping off. That's not. Again, I don't have a plan for that either. So definitely I have no plans for skydiving. But Braxton's in. So Braxton, you might want to reach out to Pete and get his information. So we got Boss Man going We got Peter goes to Sparta going. We get Braxton to Sakes Fiend. Who else is going on this
CQ.
trip? Like I said, CQ guys are
You know,
in
it's funny with
CQ.
CQ. He used to jump out as a living, believe it or not.
Yeah,
He
sure.
was an airborne ranger, so that was
Right.
normal for him.
Right.
So, come on, dude. Like, you need to. We gotta get you in there, man. It's no choice. Like,
Yeah.
you have to do it.
No. Me personally, no.
Prove me wrong, sissy.
Like, call me what you will. That's not that. Like I said, that is not my plan. But again, but I will support, and especially you get video shot of it or whatever. I will support your efforts. In fact, we can start a GoFundMe on this page now to help Pete make this jump. Help the Ghost of Sparta make this jump. So we can, so again,
I was actually going to work with my.
As you see scrolling at the bottom of the screen, you see our Cash Apps. So shout out to Edward Gilbert coming into the build tonight. Shout out to you coming in.
Give me a good birthday gift,
see
guys.
at the bottom of our screens our Cash App. So again, drop something in there for Grooming and Reviews 101 so he can make this skydive, all right, and make a successful successful jump. So absolutely, so I will spear that for you. So you'll have so you have the means in order to make this jump.
Well, Paul, you're gonna join us, you like it or not. I'll kidnap your ass. Actually, I was thinking. I'm not joking about this. I'm thinking. My Spartan helmet. I wore one a couple times on the show.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine me skydiving with that on. Just think about it. Just think about it. No, I'm not saying you. Just think about me jumping out of a plane with a Spartan helmet, and you see me coming down with a Spartan helmet.
See, I'll jump over a plane if it's like 10 feet off the ground. I'll do that. Remember that question say, hey, would you jump out of a plane for $1 million? It's like, is the plane on the ground? See, I would do that. But nah, man. I have, like I said, I have no desire. I love being in airplanes though. One thing I would, one thing I've never done, which I certainly plan to do next year, I've never been on a helicopter ride. That is definitely something I want to do.
They're not too expensive, believe it or not.
No, right. So like, especially when we go like next year, we're supposed to be going to Greece, or that Mediterranean area. So I would definitely want to, if they have copter rides there, I would definitely like to go take a ride over that area with that. That would be dope. So I would, so that
they
I'm
do have them over Acropolis and Athens, all that stuff, but I'm not sure why they run. To be honest with you, and they run pretty often because there are obviously a lot of people who travel and visit Greece. So again, I'm not sure here. I know a ride around New York, I think it's like a couple hundred. It's not that expensive.
Indeed.
If you think about it, your plane ticket for Greece is $1,500. A couple hundred is nothing. You really think about it.
Exactly. Yeah. So I mean, I would definitely go all in on all in on that. So yeah. So stuff like that, I don't mind doing. There's a lot of scenery worth checking out. So yeah. So I would do that. But yeah. But the skydive. There's certain roller coasters I don't get on. I mean, I'll get on some. I've been on Lightning Loops. I've been on Rolling Thunder and some of those attractions at Six Flags. But it just like when that first drop happens, it's like my heart and everything stays up there, and it takes a while to catch up.
That's the fun part, dude.
It goes down. My wife used to think it was fun. She was a roller coaster queen back in the day. Now she's lost. She's got the yips now, so she's lost that feeling to do that crazy stuff. Also,
is the motherhood of her?
Maybe. Now even when my kids were younger, I mean, we would go to. Because we would take them to Six Flags, and obviously they wouldn't get on the big rides, but they said mom certainly would. Now I would watch the kids, and she would go and do her thing or whatever, and she'd say, hey, that was fun. But the thing that she could do that I could never do, the rides where you just spin, like it's almost like you're like one of the Apollo astronauts where they like spinning you around or whatever, and you come out dizzy. She never got dizzy off of anything. If I go in one of those things, I get mad dizzy when I'm coming out. Mr. Bennett, you can also take your pets skydiving with you. Trust me, mine wouldn't do that either. He's like Scooby Doo. He's the scariest dog that you would think. So yeah, he's certainly not gonna feel good about jumping out of an airplane. He wouldn't enjoy that at all. But yeah, my dog is mad scared. He doesn't like fireworks. He doesn't anything remotely scary. He runs the other way. So very, very skittish. So I don't think that would go down. But But yeah, as we start out the show with, again, hope everybody had a good holiday. And again tonight, ladies and gentlemen, this is our call-in show. So if you look at the top of our chat, there's the link. If you want to come up and join us and say hi to us and interact a little bit, certainly you're more than welcome to do so. And but we're gonna just have free flowing conversation for the night. And if no one comes, then we'll just keep it moving. But again, you're more than welcome to come up, cam up, and just and just interact with us. But speaking again of the holidays, so again, I know Pete, you want to touch on this a little bit. So again, Thanksgiving. Obviously, a lot of people say Thanksgiving is like their favorite holiday, simply because it doesn't have like the specificity like Christmas or Easter. Those are, if you come from a particular religious culture or background or whatnot, it may not have same application for people. But Thanksgiving seems to be a very generic type of thing, where you can, you don't have to be of a certain, religion or whatever. You can, or group or background. It's just an opportunity to get for folks to come together and give thanks, and be in a communal setting. So for a lot of people, it's amongst their favorites. Where would you say, Pete, Thanksgiving ranks on your holiday list, and also considering some of the Greek holidays that you may celebrate outside of the traditional Christmas and Thanksgiving and things, Easter sort of thing? What would you say it ranks in your book?
It was number one at one point. Keep that in mind, 1 point. Mm-hmm. So let me give you a backstory why I want to talk about this, because we all think about holidays is Christmas. That's the major one you hear everybody like, oh, I wonder what I'm going to get this year, or who I'm going to see. So a few years back, I started a tradition about almost a little bit over 15 years ago. Mm-hmm. And we stopped it right about when my mom got diagnosed with cancer 3 years ago. Mm-hmm. So, and I'll explain why we stopped it. Not by choice, by the way. So, I started inviting my cousins to come up and have Thanksgiving at my crib. Mm-hmm. So my cousin used to stay over, one of my boy Raul, really close family friend, and we had a great time. We played. The tradition was he stayed over the night. We, bullshit or whatever, jump on Call of Duty, play to 2-3 o'clock in the morning. Then wake up, do it again. The next day, eat, go back upstairs and do it again. Go to bed, and so on. So that slowly turned into only for a day, because he had other commitments and stuff like that, and that part I was okay with. So when then he started becoming every other year, 1 year at his house, 1 year at my house. Then that's cool, whatever. So when my mom got diagnosed with cancer, I was told to pretty much go fuck myself, and I got to deal with myself. And the whole family tradition, family is backbone. Everybody forgot everything. Everybody forget, we only come around family during the holidays. What about Monday? What about Tuesday? What about, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, Saturday? What about all 4 days? What's going on, Chef?
Going on, gentlemen.
That's good, sir. Good to
Can you hear me?
Yes, sir.
Yeah, nice and loud.
Yeah, man. What's happening? Happy holidays, man. It's my time of the year, man. Thanksgiving and all that kind of stuff.
No, I know you be slaying.
No, man. Yeah. Oh, yeah. So I hear y'all. Go ahead, man. I hear your conversation going. Mm-hmm. I had one of my cousins came up. My wife on my wife's side. She was in our wedding. Like almost 38 years ago. So she was up. She's on my wife's mother's side, and she stayed with us for the week and a few other things from the South. It was nice. It was really nice to have some family around. Everybody was just chilling. We made too much food. I usually take pictures of the food and stuff like that, but I said, you know what? I just couldn't show the decadence. I just couldn't do it, man. I said, you know what, man, people are starving and shit and all that kind of stuff. I said, let me, I guess trim it down. I made this a seafood dressing. It's not a stuffing because it was outside of the bird. Mm-hmm. I just saw a recipe. That says I got a cookbook. Like I see like these and I'm gonna just be quick. I see these like cooking shows,
Mhm.
and I'm in my Gmail. I have like a tag I put on recipes that I want to keep, so I could search on them.
Mhm.
And it's really like a cookbook. So every so often I try stuff out. So I tried this seafood dressing with cornbread, crab, and shrimp. Right, the trio of celery and
Mhm.
onions and red peppers.
Mhm.
That son of a bitch was pretty damn good, man. I swear, man. It was like I said, man, it was really, really good.
Awesome.
Of course, I smoked the turkey, I smoked the prime rib. So I was crazy enough to say, hey, give me a 10-pound prime rib, right? Just so we could have it. We give a lot of food away. So
Mhm.
the butcher knows my wife. I know she charms people out of all kinds of stuff. So he gave her 12 pounds. So I
Mhm.
smoked that son, that son of a
Mhm.
bitch, man. It was meat for days. It was really good.
Mhm.
So I mean, it was just the meal was cool. Everything else was good. The football, everything.
Yeah, man. Yeah, and I know. There was some commentary about, obviously, you had some college stuff. I mean, guys, join us for the one-on-one sports show this Wednesday. So we're gonna be breaking down what happened on the college scene, what happened over the holidays, what happened over today. A lot of stuff to talk about. Sorry, our pain, your rat birds, y'all laid an egg again. So,
Oh,
so, so we gonna talk about that at that time. But again, one-on-one, we're gonna get into all of it and whatnot. So certainly looking forward to that show Wednesday, 8 p.m. Here on the BMU network. But Ghost, if you want to certainly continue with yours, and we'll come back with
So, we had some great times. So Christmas, we were trying to get together, but it never really worked out towards as years went on. So we
Mhm.
just did Thanksgiving, Christmas gifts change. I always got my cousin the same thing, Call of Duty game, and he's usually protein or something like that, whatever.
Mhm.
Something we kept it to a budget always, like 60, $70 per person.
Mhm.
So now with the whole cancer thing kicking in, I'm looking back like, what? Why do we have cancer broke us up completely? But why do we always? And I always complain about this back then. Why do we wait till holidays to see everybody? Why can't I just drive to Jersey, like you, Paul? Like for example, you were like an hour from me. Drive, say, hey, what's going on, dude? Let's hang out. Let's grab a couple gyros and a beer for in your case, a water, and enjoy our time because our time is very limited on this planet. Why do you need a holiday? Holidays are nice. Maybe
Mm.
okay. Maybe you tell me, Pete.
Okay.
Some of my friend, your friend. Maybe you have somebody who lives a plane ride over. Okay, I'll give you that. I'll let you go on that one. But it doesn't mean you cannot make arrangements to go see them. You're going on vacation. Why not, as you're on vacation, maybe you make it a route, like say going straight up, maybe taking a big U-turn and stop by, say something, say hi to somebody.
Yeah.
We've been
Yeah,
friends.
so that's an interesting point. I was just asking in the chat because I know Milani. She says she really doesn't celebrate holidays in part because for religious reasons, and I know religious. Like I know like Jehovah's Witnesses that I know, and apparently they don't celebrate any holidays all Christmas, Easter. They don't even celebrate birthdays, but they find opportunities oftentimes to get together. Like if you want to give somebody something, you just give it. Like you don't have to necessarily wait for a particular day of the year if you want to bless somebody. Or if you want to have a gathering, you just bring people over for the simple fact of bringing people over. So has holidays then therefore become sort of a crutch for people to as a reason to get together that one or two times a year when really the work should be more intentional about checking in on people throughout the year or visiting people throughout the year. It shouldn't have to wait for that. So again, I know some people are, for certain reasons, do that. I've only known people who've abstained for holidays for religious reasons, but I certainly understand. I certainly understand the principle of why only at these only times a year, the only time of year you just get to reach out to someone is because of that. And I think all of us, we might be guilty of that at some point. Like I might not talk to you all year, but I may, like, in fact, I have I have a list. I have almost like a texting sort of distribution list of people who, again, these aren't people that I'm necessarily close to, but these are people that have certainly been in my life at one time. Either it might have been a coworker from a few years ago, or somebody I might have had an interaction with at some time, but just, course of life, we just kind of go in certain directions. But I will reach out to them in those holiday times. Now, should I be checking with them in maybe June or July or, some other time, March, March 15th? There's nothing related there. But should I make that time to reach out to certain people? Yeah. But, but for some people, they may say, well, just life in general has you going in so many directions. How many people can you be consciously thoughtful about that you just want to reach out to them at any given time? I mean, you may have your own family and certainly affairs that you have to attend to. So, so for some people, it may be that's why only once or twice a year they get together. But I would hope, though, and this is the thing which I'm seeing, in fact, again, Melania brought it up again, for a lot of people, again, especially now with this, I mean, you figure the political season we just came out of, and we're not going political tonight, all right? Cut that right now. We're not going there. But I'm just saying, but it's a lot of these get-togethers, if it wasn't politics, it would be something else. That a lot of these gatherings are getting more and more contentious, more so than it's like, hey, I haven't seen you all year. It should be a fun gathering time. But for more people, that they're having like holidays almost brings about almost like a depression, because it's like, oh, I got to go see so-and-so or whatever. But see, my thing is, I don't put it on the holiday per se, I put that on, the individuals involved. It's like, look, whatever you guys got to squash, y'all need to, bury that beef and then save the holiday for what it was intended for. But if the only time you see each other is on the holiday time and you have unresolved conflict, then yeah, that's going to be a very uncomfortable sort of situation. And you see fewer and fewer people meeting or even hosting or having things like that because of this tension. So I think that the issue isn't the holiday, but I think it's a human problem. It's a relational problem that people just haven't resolved. So what do you guys think about that?
You're right, though. Luckily in my family, we got political issues, but when we get together, we can't help make it a celebration. I mean, funerals, weddings, we say goodbye to the loved ones, and it always turns out to be a family reunion and celebration of the life, as opposed to missing a person. I mean, that element's always there. I don't know if we really need anything special. When we used to have family reunions all the time, not as much anymore. But anytime we get together, just a real quick story. One of my cousins, my first cousin, younger cousin, he died of cancer. And he was dying, and of course, with social media, we saw the progression of his getting worse and worse. So the whole family got together 2 weeks. And we didn't know when he was going to die, but we knew it was close. So we got down to North Carolina, and we hung out while he was still alive. We had a big family gathering, people from all across the country. We came down, hung out with him, did all kinds of stuff, celebrated. And now he passed away 2 weeks later. And everybody went down there for his funeral. But the fact that we went while he was still alive to say respects, even though we didn't talk about that stuff. We were just happy he was still alive. He knew he was dying because I talked to him all the time on the phone. So I thought that was something special, because most people don't celebrate it while you're alive. And he knew he was going out. So it was something poignant. We do that kind of stuff in our family. So, politically, of course, it's the same as everybody else. All the women, they're crazy about what happened. The guy, some of the guys too, but we try not to make that the cornerstone of everything. So
right.
I didn't know if anybody got excommunicated for Thanksgiving. You know what I'm saying?
No, we kept it pretty. We kept it pretty neutral as well. And and my thing is, I think what's good with my family in a lot of instances, it's like we live in the present. So it's like, what's done is done. Now the question is, okay, well, where do we go from here? even if you didn't get necessarily the outcomes that you wanted or what have you. Where do we go from here? So I think a lot of us were definitely more on the progressive side. I mean, like, it's like, this is like when my sports teams. If the Steelers lose, it's almost like I'm over it. I put more drama into the game itself. Then once the game is over, it's like, okay, on to Cincinnati. You know what I mean? So
Right.
it's not something that I try not to dwell on coulda, woulda, shouldas, and what I mean, because I think a lot of that stuff is a waste of time. You have to live in the present day and move on with life, and make the best outcome you can in any kind of situation. So, but Pete, what do you think about that? I think that this idea of unresolved conflict in relationships, I think, is what's really, and it seems to be, again, in many circles. Again, we grew up, it'd be the house packed. You couldn't get anybody into the house. You had to set up extra tables and chairs in the basement or on the deck or something like that. It was just like wall to wall people. And now it's like, if I get like a half a dozen people to the house for anything. Now, again, some of this, I'm sure, families expand and you want to get your own traditions. You want to get certain things going. But what do you think about the idea that, again, holidays is again, we're not getting together, or it's creating further wedges between people. What do you think about that?
I think it's a little both.
Mm-hmm.
The reason I say that, because you get closer with some people and things happen and you get that wedge or you get separated. So it really depends. Like, it's multiple things from what I see through my families. Like, at one point, one turkey wasn't enough for us, because I had people sitting I saw random people from my neighborhood like, who the hell are you and what are you doing my goddamn turkey? So and so. For like, okay, just eat, enjoy, whatever. I didn't care. I fed people. You know what I'm saying? People were smiling, laughing. We're drinking, we're having a good time. We didn't care. Then things kind of got a little down. Like, a lot of my friends who showed up for my Thanksgiving are in the service, so they were deployed and or got restationed, stuff like that. And that I get. That's the hard part, being in the service. Okay, but family, like, if you don't like somebody and he's going to be at dinner, I'm kind of like, then talk your shit out. You don't have to swing, just talk your shit out. You're too grown as a fucking adult. Grow the fuck up and be one. Not like a little child, like, I'm not talking to him. Like, well, I'll grab you by the fucking ear. I'll make you talk now. And like, if I have to do that, I will rip every goddamn hair out of your head by a little tweezer. You're gonna look like a part of your club next, Paul. So I don't care. Holidays are not the time to have beef with somebody. It's to fix the beef. Get closer with somebody.
Yeah. Yeah, and I think, but that's the intentionality you have to have in any relational setting. That has to be a 24/7, 365. How people messed up food and drinks and music is beyond me. Yeah, but it's that work you have to be doing outside of those things. That I think that's important. And I think just we get so preoccupied with everything else that, again, that we lose sight of those things that are most important. I thought I was actually kind of optimistic coming out of the pandemic that we would be a bit better off, that when people had to be isolated, then you recognize what was really important. It wasn't about consumerism and things like that. It would be about people and relationships. But I know more people who got divorced or broke up, or they didn't, it's like we didn't learn anything. We just went right back to what we were doing before. So I don't know, what if that wasn't a motivator to say, hey, you know what? I can't go anywhere. So, but I do have my phone, and we're from back in the day when you had those call plans, right? So you could only call at certain times, but you can call anybody anytime you want, unlimited minutes, and be like, you know what? If I got to be home tonight, then hey, you know what? Open up that phone book or whatever, and just call those people up and say, hey man, I haven't talked to you for a while or whatever. Hey, what's going on? How you guys holding up here? Has family okay? Blah blah blah. But did that happen in mass for people? Did people use that period of isolation as a reason to reconnect?
I think, Mr. Bennett, I think more people did than we then we know. I
hope
think
so.
that the bad news is the stuff that travels more. So we'll hear about the breakups and all that. One thing we did find out was that people need people to be around.
Mm.
We found that out, right? And if it wasn't for technology, it would have been 10 times worse. If that pandemic would have happened in the 90s or the 80s, this country might not be the same. The fact that we had technology, we reached out to each other through technology. Yeah, and that was only 4 years ago, and it is still not as good as it would be today. But it was good enough for us to be disconnected and connected, right, by electronics and technology. And I think that made a lot of difference.
Mhm.
I really do. I mean, I wrote a piece on that. I think technology saved us. Because even if you were in your house cocooned, you still could reach out to the people you love, right?
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so
And
Zoom
it
blew up
obviously
as a
it created
stop.
these places for conversation. If it wasn't for that, we wouldn't know each other. I don't think right now. The three
Yeah.
the three of
Yeah.
us, I wouldn't have the
I
opportunity to
totally
meet you
agree with you.
gentlemen
Right.
in person. So certainly I think it definitely created a positive space for new people to interact. Because some people stay in your own circles and lanes, but again, other points of view, other perspectives, other life experiences that you're able to have with people. So I think in a lot of ways,
Absolutely.
it definitely had its benefits. I agree with that 100%.
And the one thing about holidays, people think about the gift so much. It's not
Yeah.
about the gift. It's just showing up and then being around people. Like I think people were asking me just recently, my birthday, like, what can I get you? Like nothing. Just go have a bite. That'd be cool with me.
Yeah.
I'm not a big, one, I like expensive shit, so that's not gonna, I want you to spend money on me like that. And B, just hang out with me is more important.
Mhm.
I remember a few years ago
Yeah.
when I was with one of my exes, and I got her a kid for Christmas. She really wanted new earpods. For a kid having earpods, yeah, I'll get them, whatever. But at the time, my budget was a little less what I could afford, so I got her. I don't say knockoff versions; it's a different type. They're a really good company. Everything was fine. And I remember I was in the other room and she was next, the walls are very thin. You can hear her. She was talking shit. Like, I can't believe this motherfucker got me knocked out. He's a piece of shit. I'm like, wow, really? Like, technically, officially, I don't have to buy you anything. There's no rules just because I'm banging your mother, meaning I have to buy you shit. I can say, fuck you. I'm not buying you shit. You're not my kid. It's not my problem.
Mm.
But you can talk shit. And I called her out and she was like, oh, I didn't say that. Like, yeah, you did.
Yeah. Now that, I mean, and obviously that's an interesting aspect to this as well, because again, but this is the capitalist country that we live in. Every holiday, in fact, I think the major reason for any holiday is basically has something tied to consumers, and why something becomes a national holiday. I think someone's in an office somewhere making a calculation that if we federalize this holiday, it's going to have like an economic end. So Juneteenth, my only thing, look, I appreciate Juneteenth, but you can have it back, because if that meant that's just another opportunity for people to go out and spend money in other establishments. We're not even turning that dollar around in our own community.
Absolutely.
Then you can have that. Take MLK back also.
Not that one.
But see, I think there's a way you can certainly honor, because I mean, it depends what you do with it. Because MLK, if that's just a day, look, I'm just going to sleep in till noon or whatever, I'm just going to get up. If you're not going to do anything, if you're going to go and like do some sort of community service or something like that, or teach or do something, but to have some substance, or maybe go down to DC and go to the African American Museum or the monuments or something. If you're going to make it something like that that's worthwhile, like I say, yeah, but there's so much consumerism tied to the material thing. Absolutely. And on that point, certainly we would agree that I think that's really what's, I think people are saying. Remember, guys, there was an effort a while ago. Stores were opening up Thursday nights. Y'all remember that? It was like
It was good
after
for a
Thanksgiving,
long time, actually.
but then they stopped because people were like, no, like this is enough. Like it was like not even the day is sacred anymore. Can you at least wait until Black Friday? People line up. But even then, people, back then it was crazy, right? People line up at 5 a.m, It's 20 degrees outside,
It's stupid.
and you waiting for that door to open up, and then people literally, a couple of people I think got deleted, if I
Oh
recall.
yeah, oh yeah.
And-
Every
and
year,
yeah,
I'm
just
like,
people
really
just
bad.
bum rushing the store just to get in, just to get that item that they only got one or two of them of.
"Oh,
And you fighting somebody in the aisle to get. I saw there was some old footage, RP, you remember from the 80s, right?
oh yeah, listen,
They
it's still
showed some
going
pictures
on
of
now.
remember the Cabbage Patch dolls when they
Oh
first came
yeah,
out?
yeah.
There was literally people. There were fights in the.
Yeah.
I mean, it was crazy that Patch thing that came out back in the day. It was
So
it's
my
Let me
cousin
tell everybody a
comes up,
little secret. I'm telling about a little secret because I know a few people working in the retail business and stuff like that. So you think you're saving on Black Friday? Guess what? You're not. A couple weeks ahead of time, they're going to check out the prices. They will charge double or triple and drop back to normal. You save 40%. You're really saving nothing.
Oh,
They
yeah,
raise
so-
the price a couple weeks ahead of time, then they drop it back down.
Yeah,
So-
I mean it's all bullshit. My cousin who came up, she's 77 years old.
Mm.
So when she's up here, she lived in the South and they come up here. She used to live here in New Jersey. So she goes shopping. So we got the mall here, the big mall that has a movie theater, I forgot what they call it.
Oh, you're talking Paramus?
Not Paramus, but it's in Elizabeth.
Oh, okay.
So that big one has a movie theater and the big
Oh
mall.
yeah, you talking about Jersey Gardens? Yeah.
Jersey Gardens. That's
Yeah.
it. Said, you went to Jersey Gardens? Said, yeah. So they, her friend had her handicap sticker, so they got a nice spot. And so she's walking the mall. I mean, they got bags. She found a cart. I said, I couldn't imagine being in that damn mall with all of those people. I said, it's just no way. I've never been to a Black Friday. I will never do it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I don't care. I don't. Just that humanity looking for a couple of pennies here and there. I'm just not with it.
Yeah.
I think it's crazy, but she's still a part of that. So she got bags and stuff. She came back to my house. I said, every time I look in the living room, some more bags. She said, So she's taking them back down south with her. That's funny though. I mean, just on the side note, she lives in a town where my wife is from, and she's from, and my wife's parents are from, and grandparents. But the town is named after the slave master.
Mm-hmm.
So if reparations ever come, I don't have no trouble. They're full FBA. So that's the only thing I'm saying. My wife is full FBA. I could trace that shit right back there. Give me my check. I'll leave it there. I'm only joking.
Okay, so up here in PA, I went to Black Friday twice. Like one because I never done it, so I thought, hey, it'll be an experience to deal with it. Very mild, but that's when they were opening still at 4 or 5 o'clock in the afternoon on Thursday. Mm-hmm. So it wasn't really, Black Friday shopping. It was Thanksgiving shopping, in my opinion. Mm-hmm. I think they stopped it right after COVID. I think I'm not mistaken because they realized they wasn't making money. The second time I done it was like with one of my exes because I never done like we can go. It's not a big deal. Like you're not gonna see anything crazy. It's just mostly shopping, and we did it. It was like okay, but here's the funny thing about Black Friday. I'm gonna tell you why is a buyer's or a business thing more than anything. Black Friday is an American holiday, don't you think so?
Well, yeah. I mean, it certainly I mean, they call it Black Friday apparently because. Oh, go ahead.
Because they have it in Greece now. But they don't have Thanksgiving, but they have Black Friday holiday. I'm like, I'm not joking with you. I was walking by the TV a couple years back, and I'm like, Black Friday shop.
We should all get some money. Every time every country calls it Black Friday, every black person should get some kind of stipend. Right. We should get some kind of royalty in that shit. That's what I want.
So Pete, so you're saying in Greece they do not officially have a Thanksgiving holiday?
No, there's no such thing. Thanksgiving is an American holiday. Remember, but there are a lot
of countries that celebrate Thanksgiving. I think UK does it. Canada. I mean, there's
Canada does a different day. Yeah, Canada does.
Yeah, really? It might be different, but I think there's several countries that celebrate Thanksgiving. In fact, I'll look it up. But go ahead. Keep.
So I was literally walking downstairs, going to grab some water out of the fridge. I'm here, Black Friday shopping. I'm like, huh? I go, back it up. Like, I went, Ma, like what? I'm like, this is the other thing my like is made. Oh, my Thanksgiving. Pretty much the Nicholas like, what the fuck are they talking about Black Friday in Greece? He goes, yeah, they started that fucking thing a few years back. They haven't access to it now. Yeah. I'm like, Do you know that's American business holiday? Like, yeah, I know, but they don't do turkey. I'm like, I know, but they do shopping. Yeah. Oh, you gotta be fucking shitting me. I'm thinking to myself. I was like, seriously? I was more shocked than anything.
It's called Boxing Day again.
Yeah.
Hey, when's
I'm
the last
looking
time
right
you've
here.
been
They
back
have
to
20.
Greece?
They say they have 24 countries that have either celebrate Thanksgiving or have some form of Thanksgiving in their countries. So I know like Brazil has it, it's in Ghana, United Kingdom, Israel has a Thanksgiving, South Korea has it. I think Germany also has it. So it's a few. But again, like to that point, they may call it a different thing. But again, as far as that sort of pause to say thanks for whatever, however they want to do it, there's some form of that. But I would have thought that because of the Greek church, that I would have thought that they may have wanted to institute some sort of day of Thanksgiving or something to that effect that they would observe. So that's why I was a little
No, it's not
surprised
things like that.
that.
Like Greeks get along. Actually, they get together more often than you think. They don't need a holiday or birthday. They get like, hey, I have nothing going on. Like someone's cooking. Like, hey, provide this person this. I'm like, people get together all the time down there because a lot of them live in the same, vicinity, same town. So you're going to get that one often. Chef, you were going to ask me your question?
No, I was going to ask you, when's the last time you were in Greece?
It's been a hot minute. I'm so early 20s. I was down in Greece. I was planning actually before COVID hit. I was literally just booking my ticket, and then COVID hit. I'm like, motherfucker. Then her cancer came to my mom, and obviously that has been a back burner. Now that she's going through, her, clean health record, no cancer, we're talking about going to Greece anytime soon. Maybe me and Paul can go together, show him the ropes there. He already tried his first official gyro, so he knows how Greek food tastes like.
I ain't gonna lie, that was the best. That was the best gyro I ever had. French fries and all that on it. It was delicious.
He was moaning. I said,
I don't want to over embellish. But it was very tasty. It was very tasty. But I only like Black Friday in a sense, not so much for the shopping. I've always been a fan. I like carnivals. I like crowds. Like I'm the type of person, I don't like going to a movie unless it's like opening weekend, for the simple fact that I like a movie theater with people in it. Right. If you don't have a crowd, especially if it's a comedy or something, or if it's like oohs and ahs and people laughing, it's like I might as well wait until it comes on Netflix or something like that and watch it. Why go spend $20 for the movie theater? But I like amusement parks. I like expos. Like we went to Comic-Con. I liked that humanity and people are there and they're excited and things like that. So I like the atmosphere. It's not like I'm gonna go there and blow $1,000 on something. But I like when a mall is full. A lot of times I go to the mall during the week, and it's like there's nobody in there, and I'm like, all these poor people up in there. They got these workers in there. They on their phones or what? Like they got nothing to do, but they just in there because there's no hub, there's no life, there's no activities. So I like the boom. So I've been to Jersey Gardens on Black Friday, and the only thing I just don't do is I don't look for. I park at the farthest end of the parking lot. It takes me 5 minutes from any direction to walk into the Jersey Garden. So it's like, you know what? Instead of chasing people down, say you coming out, then the guy comes up on the other side. It's like, no, I got this parking spot. I'll park over here, but it's like nobody parking, and I'll just walk over. It's not a big deal. It's probably getting a little exercise in at the same time. So I just like I like energy. I like people in a space where everybody's doing their thing. So I don't mind the environment, but again, when it gets excessive or when people are like waiting in line for hours, just trying to get something. I mean, at that point, it's like just to buy something I don't like, but I do like the environment.
See, I know what you're talking about. I used to be like that. Now, I think the pandemic helped me, but the one line I can't get on is a food line because I've been traumatized. Because when I was young, back in the My grandmother had the Department of Agriculture certificates, welfare line. So we used to tease people. So one day she got in her mind to bring me with her on a food line. I must have cried for like, I don't know, maybe 24 hours. They were going to send my ass away, man. It was the most embarrassing thing in my life. So even when I go to like banquets and shit where they have like a little line set up, I let everybody eat first. So when they're finished, I can go up and get what I want. I can't stand being in food. I've been traumatized. Just like going to the bathroom, like when I from camp, traumatized me forever. I'm traumatized. So I don't like
so you
crowds.
Want to go to like a game, like a football game or a stadium or something like that, and wait.
I can't, you know, I used to the stadiums and all that. Now with TV and I can look at the replays and stuff like. Why do I want to be with all those crazy ass drunk people? I can have as many beers as I want. Don't have to worry about the you know. We just set it up.
Then, so we get you a suite. We'll put you in a luxury suite. So
see, now I might be able to handle that. So I have the VIP access and the, a parking spot, and boom, I go up the special elevator in a suite with all the knickknacks and shit, the private bathroom. I can dig that.
Yeah. So here's the thing. Couple things. So what you're saying, Paul, about the movie theater, I'm going to push back a little bit. When you have a movie theater all to yourself, it's the best thing in the world.
No, like I said. For me, like
I agree,
especially if it's if it's a big movie, like if it's like one of those rom-coms or something like that, me and the wife, she wants to see it, and I don't really want to be there. It's like, okay, fine. But if it's like Star Wars or something, or some big box office thing, you want that place packed.
You do.
There was nothing greater growing up going to a Star Wars movie on opening night. When you heard that 20th Century Fox go off and the crowd went nuts.
I got one for you,
like
Mr.
you
Bennett.
knew you were in for the ride at that point.
I got one for you. Aliens, the very first one. Aliens, waiting on the line in New York City around the block to get in Aliens. Nobody saw any coming attractions. And then the pop out scene, the movie was humming for the rest. I mean, the movie it didn't stop humming. You just heard oh my God, everybody was traumatized. Two other movie comedy that probably would have been never that funny. I'm Gonna Get You, Sucker.
Mm-hmm. Oh, hilarious.
I was packed.
Yeah.
Hilarious, packed, man. It was packed. When she started taking off body parts, forget that. The big thumb toe when my man said my foot, and he took off this, taking it. And then
came out, the butt implant came out.
There's so many different ones, man. Forget it, man. You have to have a pack. Oh, the Money Pit. I was in a movie with a Money Pit, with Tom Hanks.
Mm-hmm.
He got caught in the hole. The movie theater was just beside itself, man.
Yeah.
So I remember one movie.
And Boomerang.
Boomerang. That was when with what's the name's parents? Was that the guy, the Bang Bang Man, who was him and his wife? It was unbelievable.
With the chitlins.
I remember.
Oh my God.
I remember going to the movies with my father. No, it was actually my mom's friend. Her son wanted to go see Batman Batman Returns. The line was fucking ridiculous. I remember sitting in that line for hours and hours. We finally see it.
Mm-hmm.
Seriously?
Yeah.
Yeah. But with the crowds, I don't mind crowds, to be honest with you. When people act stupid in crowds, that's what I do mind.
Yeah. For sure.
Well,
for sure.
Yeah.
Like I said, but there was a buzz. Like I said, going to back then, we didn't have like those superplexes with 10 or 12 movies in it. It'd be like the theater might have maybe 2-3 screens in there. And the crowd for Star Wars, I remember I saw Empire Strikes Back with a buddy of mine. We were 3 shows in line. In other words, they were like backed up. So there was a show, a crowd in front of us that had to get in, and then another one after that. But again, it's not like you had a bunch of options to go to like the Metroplex. It was like very rare when you had those to go through, and some of those were like drive-ins. You still had drive-in theaters and whatnot. So again, you didn't have as much. So you just accepted it for what it was. But you were excited though, and you could tell there was a buzz in the crowd because everybody wanted to be there, and nobody was saying, "Oh, I can't wait to his lines. Oh, I want to go home." Nah, in fact, you talking about the last movie with the people who
everybody.
Were there.
Yeah. There's another one, Mr. Bennett, and then this one is a little downer, but The Passions of the Christ. watching that movie in a packed movie theater with the people. Oh man, I mean, people were outwardly crying throughout the whole movie theater, man.
Yeah.
It's funny you mentioned this. Yeah. Like my old priest, not my current priest, not Father Constantino, and a different one that was at the church, and I was really good friends with his son at one point, and we were talking about it. He goes to me, dude, my father doesn't really go to movie theaters because it's a religion thing, and some of them are anti-religion. Yeah. I go, yeah, I understand. I go, but he actually went to see Passion of Christ, and he goes to me, that is so close to the Bible, it's not even funny. Really. And even a priest goes to say, oh my God. But a funny story on this actually is having lunch a couple weeks ago with Father Constantino, and he knows a federal priest of his. He's the biggest, biggest Star Wars fan in the world. He goes to, I'm like, I looked at him like, I went, Father, with all due respect, I'm about to sin. I'm like, oh, here we go again. Don't you dare curse. He goes to me like, are you fucking joking me? And he goes like, I told you not to curse. I'm like, you're gonna forgive me no matter what, Father. Come on, let's be honest here. He goes, I hate when you're right, but yeah. But we're like, I thought it was the funniest when I heard another Orthodox priest. It was a huge Star Wars fan. I'm like, how big fan? You're like, he collects lightsabers. I go, really? I'm like, that's interesting.
Yeah.
So yeah, I think it's kind of ironic in a way.
The only new thing I do appreciate about the theater is certainly buying your ticket ahead of time. So you have your seats already there, so you don't have to wait in line for hours or whatever. You just show up when the thing starts. So that I certainly think
you can pick your seats too now.
Yeah. So that's probably the biggest improvement that I've seen certainly in experience. But certainly I want to go back to what you were saying earlier, Ghost, about the gifts and how much on the gifting part. Again, I think a lot of it has to do with, again, how do you spend your year? Because for me, I'm kind of like you in that I don't necessarily need gifts, because anything if I see something, I just get it. Or if I think my wife or my kids, if they need something, I just like, here, I just thought you would need this, or you might have mentioned that you need it. So look, boom, here it is. I don't necessarily have to wait for it. So I even told them, it's like, my daughter, I bought some things, and my daughter, I think she preemptively, she bought it for me. It says, look, you don't have to, you don't have to give me no birthday, no holiday gifts this year, or whatnot. I'm good. Like I literally, I don't have a wish list. I don't have a whatever. And if anything, I just tell him, because I got a nephew of mine. He just had another kid, and fortunately, unfortunately, it's not. But obviously, he's going to need some stuff. So I just told my family, say, look, if you got to think about anybody this year, think about your nephew or those kids who needs. And that's the thing too. I think what's also happening is, back when the gatherings would get, you happy more kids. Now it's like there's fewer and fewer kids to sort of dote on. And I have friends, like all my friends' kids, they're all grown now, right? So it's not like but we used to get gifts for everybody, for his kids, my kids, and they'd be like this gift exchange thing kind of going on. And it's like there's no real need for that. So it's like, if there's kids that we can dote on, or even a family, even though they're not that close, but we know they need something. It was more like, look, put your money towards that versus anything else. But as far as for me, and I think my wife is kind of the same way, we really don't need, what you're going to buy my wife a Gucci bag or whatever. And yeah, she would appreciate it. But if that can go to somebody else, then go in that direction. So I think, certainly for us, because there's fewer kids to dote on, we just want to focus on them, or those who really need something. But, there's nothing that I don't have, if I wanted to get it, that I can't get anytime I want. So I don't wait for the holidays to get stuff. So I think it's just it's a mentality that I think some people are still kind of working out. But I think you're going to get to a point in age where it's not that important. Even your birthdays and all that. It's like, yeah, it's,
like I used to tell people when it was DVDs. I used to collect DVDs like crazy. I have like over 300 DVDs, Blu-rays, and all that stuff. And I go to someone like, listen, you want to give me something? You're so hard-headed. You're not gonna listen to me. Don't give me nothing. You want to give me something? Okay, and give me a DVD. Very simple. Very not too expensive, not too cheap. Right in the middle. Okay, I can do that. I'm like, and it's very simple. I'm not a big fan of gift cards. They're a safe route, but I like when if you put a little thought behind the gift. Like, and I appreciate that. Like, even you got me I don't know, a case of Mountain Dew, for example. Okay, you know that's my favorite soda drink. You put a thought in it, or seriously,
Look, I understand.
he's on a fucking road tonight.
You got to get you got to get to a certain maturity, I think, when it comes to that. But my kid, I mean, my daughter, she came up with a list. I was like, really? I mean, she'd be like the other way around. This is my middle one. She's out of anyone, she's probably the most material out of the three.
Bunch.
But yeah, she's a diva. But it's something you just get to. It's like, nah, I'm good. Like I like window shopping. Like I'll go around. Like I'll go to Marshalls, which is like my vice. I admit that Marshalls is my vice. I'll go to Marshall if I'm within like 100 yards of one. It's like, oh, there's a Marshall over there. I look at my wife's like, she'll be like, go ahead. You know you want to go there. Now I may not come out with anything, but it's like I got to be up in there.
But what's Marshall? What's this? They have a variety of stuff, right?
Yeah. But it's like, but they don't have like a season of selection. It's almost like a flea market. You go in there, there's stuff that if it's once it's gone, it's gone. They're not gonna like restock something once it's off the shelves or whatever. So you either go in there, you find something. Most of their merch is reasonably priced, and you can dress yourself real nice for under like $50. I mean, shirt, pants, shoes, or whatever. You can come out of Marshalls for like $50 and look like $1 million.
And I think about Marshalls, they have a high end brands. You can find like Under Armour and even Gucci sometimes in there. They usually push out over the leftover merchandise to Marshalls and some other stores like that, like
Marshalls,
JC,
TJ Maxx,
and like that.
Yeah.
And
Ross, that's another one. I've seen Rosses, but I don't think they have too many Rosses in New Jersey. I don't think are paying, not to my knowledge anyway. I've seen Rosses in other states, but not in Jersey.
Yeah, so those are really good places to go in, like TJ Maxx, Ross, and Marshalls. Those are the three top ones I can think of in my head right now. Mm-hmm. Is you can go in there, but you don't know what you're walking into. That's the fun part of it. But you might walk out there. Okay, yeah, this shirt costs $80 at Under Armour, but I bought it for $10 here. Exact same thing. The only difference, they're towards the end of the string of that. They just want to get rid of it, and they're pushing to those stores instead. And they're still making some money out of it, but not making the money they're going to make from their stores. If that makes sense.
Yeah, for sure. So I like shopping. I like the expense. Like this shirt I bought, I got so many compliments on it, but again, it's like $15. I mean, marked down from $60. So I don't, so like I said, for me, like I said, there's very little that I need. Yeah, Brooks Brothers, nah, I don't even shop there for stuff. I'll go to K&G and get a suit for like $150 versus spending $1,500 for a Brooks Brothers suit. There's limits, for me when it comes to like, certain things or whatever that I just won't pay on, because especially if it's not something I'm going to wear like all the time or whatever, then I just won't invest that kind of money into stuff. But I think certainly, so we got, as far as holidays, so obviously that consumerism is certainly something that I think takes away, I guess, a lot of the spirit of holidays. But then again, as we talked about earlier, you also have unresolved conflicts, family conflicts and whatnot. I think a third thing that I think someone had mentioned it in the chat, right? That I think one of the keys to holidays, especially in Black communities, and I'm sure it happens in Greek communities as well, that matriarch or patriarch that had a way of holding everything together. Like it was like Big Mama or whoever that was who held Thanksgiving together. Like you went because she had a way of bringing everybody together, or whoever those individuals were. And when they pass, there's a lot of emotion when they pass, but then like nobody who picks up the mantle when those old patriarchs, your grandmother, your grandfather, your aunts, your auntie, whoever that was who was responsible for that, who picks up that mantle when that person is no longer here.
The matriarch in waiting. Listen, Mr. Bennett, I don't think it's the matriarch or the Big Mama herself. I think that in a typical family, I think if you have more daughters than sons, they'll tend to cleave around to their mothers. That the men that they marry will marry in the town where their mothers are. As opposed to if you have all sons, they explore, they branch out, they're all over the place. Mm-hmm. So if you only have sons, they might try to take care of you, but they'll be more of I will let the fingers do the walking and whatever money we have do the work. They're not changing the diapers. They're not doing none of that shit.
Mhm.
You have daughters, they're going to cleave around their mothers. They just do. I mean, I have no scientific fact, but I just think in life, I know in my family, my grandmother on my father's side had like 7 daughters and 2 sons.
Mhm.
And one of the reasons why our family was so close and the cousins were so close because we always met at my grandmother's house when my grandfather. They always came to the house in the Bronx, no matter where they were. So everybody was kind of in New York and those areas, and so all the cousins were close because we saw each other almost all the time. That kind of stuff. But I think if she had 7 sons and 2 daughters, I think the dynamics in our family would be completely different.
Right. So do you definitely believe then that women, I think, are keys to whether it be family reunions or holidays or whatever, that nurturing nature of women is the key to these, keeping and maintaining these traditions and holidays. They put a lot more into it than
I
men.
believe that. I believe that 100%. I do.
Yeah. But I guess the crazy thing now is, and maybe it's the culture, maybe it's the Real Housewives culture or whatever. I don't know.
Or the newfangled women, I'll be with you. Yeah. Forget, they don't want kids. They don't like them. Listen.
Well, not only that, but they can't get along. You know what I mean? It's like I said, and a lot of these conflicts that we're talking about is not the fathers and sons. It's the daughters. It's the sisters. It's the so that whatever happened to that nurturing instinct that might have been there at one time, it seems like even that's not being passed on to it.
No,
I agree with you. Waiting that you're talking
about. No, I agree with you a lot about that. I'm just saying that basically, if you strip away the cultural changes, men tend to branch out. I think we do. And if we find a woman to love and fall in love with, we'll probably settle down closer to where her mother is than where our parents are. That's what I think.
It's just that nature just doesn't want to leave and cleave, or is that you want to just?
I think men are just, we're going to make our own road. We don't need to be around our parents to do that if we're independent men, right?
And he doesn't have a good point there. Like eventually, as men, we need to put our own seeds in the ground, not literally.
Right.
But we need, like, you build a house.
So if we did an analysis that every man who, let's talk about married men. If we did an analysis about men who get married and we try to do some kind of rudimentary science project, are you closer to where your parents are as a man or to the woman's parents as a woman? If you hear a lot of women say, I want to go back to where my family is, you hear a lot of that. Mm-hmm. They like that's their little comfort zone. And and it's not a bad thing. I just think it's cool. So that's why it's imperative that if you're going to marry a woman, be with her for a long time, it's be good to be in good standing with her parents.
Yeah.
As opposed to her, it's good both ways. But I'm just saying, I think women cleave around their mothers, especially in a normal, good relationship.
Yeah. But Peter, in Greek culture, are the men I guess have that same mentality, want to branch out, or do men? Cause I always got the sense that Greek men, like they like the family, they try to keep the families together and things. At least, like if you watch My Big Fat Greek Wedding, which I know it's a parody to an extent, but it's like the father. He was the one who was like into wanting to keep everything going and the traditions and the family get-togethers and stuff. So, but do the women more so run that more so than the men in Greek culture? I thought the men were a lot more invested in that than the women were.
It really depends on family, really. Some are the women, some are men. It really depends. Like with my mother, she ran the dinners always. She cooked for the dinners. She enjoyed cooking them. Even now, it would have to, like it was only 2 of us. She still cooks like with like fucking 40 of us in the house. Like, Christ, mother. I was literally call you guys like, yo, you guys are hungry? You want to come over for a couple of hours? But my point is trying to get to is it really depends. Some is the father, some is the mother. It really depends. But one thing I will say, they when you get married, they don't expect you to stay in the same neighborhood. They expect you to move out of state. That's normal for them. So when I see somebody living like, oh, my mom is on the end of the block and my sister is on that block and my brother lives behind in my other house, I'm like, don't really have privacy. They can come in over whenever they fucking feel like.
Yeah.
So that one is a little strange for me personally.
Yeah, I'm not trying to say it's 100%. I'm just thinking in terms.
I know a lot of people like that. A lot of people. Well, maybe it's, I don't know, America thing, but I know there's a lot of thing around here.
Right. Yeah, but it seems like on my end, I think I'm finding myself more the, I guess the patriarch, if you will. I'm very intentional about, like, my family. We typically do Christmas Eve when my family gets together. My wife does Christmas, her family Christmas Day. So we go sort of back and forth. I kind of navigate back and forth between. Also in the summer, we typically have a cookout. Like in late August, I have some sisters. They come in from Vegas or whatever, and we get together and stuff. So my house is generally the hub of activity when it comes to things. But I do feel a sense of ownership of that. I do. It's like when, when folks are there, like I said, my nephew just had a kid. I was like, look, bring him around. He's going to need as much support as he needs. So get everybody together. So I'm the one kind of coordinating stuff or whatever, just to keep that my side of the family sort of together. I think when I became the primary caretaker for my mom and dad, this is like 2016, 2017. And the fact that I also had to keep my family informed in terms of their health and where they were with certain things or whatever, it just become almost like a natural thing. So my house became the hub of activity. I became the information hub when it came to their care. And it's just like, look, we're going to keep things rolling. So yeah, I'm going to be the one to do it. So I think, and I think it's kind of shared between, like I said, my wife's family, which I'm very close to. And I think we just kind of, so both of us, we kind of look at ourselves as that hub of center for both sides of our family when it comes to gatherings or whatnot. And, and it's something I enjoy. I enjoy seeing people get together. Growing up, Christmas Eves at my sister's house was like the best thing going. We had that tradition running going for like 10, 15 years. And, when people got married off or moved off or whatever, it kind of went away for a little bit. And I was like very interested about, what, we need to run this back, because folks out there doing stuff and there's no connection. So I do feel a sense of responsibility to want to maintain those connections. Now, whether they still want to connect, that's another story. But my door is always going to be open when it comes to that kind of activity.
No, I agree with that. I mean, like I said, I keep the family tree for our family on my father's side.
Yeah.
So when growing up, Christmas Day, Christmas Eve was going to Jersey because we lived in New York to see family friend of ours, Billy. Mm-hmm. We always stayed the night there. He used to go all out for Christmas, dude. Like he had the biggest Christmas tree that you ever seen in a house. I was like, wow, that's cool. And he had a fireplace, so he used to take a boot and kind of do the step of Santa coming out of the fireplace. He went all out. I'm like, and wow. Oh, look, Santa was here. It was like, cookies were eating, the milk was gone, the whole 9 yards. And, he got older. He was a lot older than my mother. I think he's like in his 90s now. And so as his daughter, moved out of the house, he kind of slowed down a lot with his wife. They ended up getting divorced anyway. So when he was just him, like, it was no point for him at the point. And he had to put a stop to it eventually.
Yeah. Yeah, a lot of times it's like when a person dies, or if that was like the main hub of where it is, a lot of times that stuff dies off because that link isn't in. That's how I was talking about Big Mama or whoever it was, or Big Daddy's house or something. Mm-hmm. When that falls off, there's we don't necessarily teach that. Or intention about, hey, something happens, y'all gonna. Either this person's going to pass it on, or y'all going to work together in some kind of way to kind of keep that going. So yeah,
going.
It definitely saps a lot of life out the room.
And I do enjoy the traditions, to be honest with you, Paul. I like to expect you guys come over X, Y, and Z days. Like, even it's not Christmas. So say we do a different day. Let's say we, because we all three of us were living in the same, at least in a, in And David, if you had that, all four of us, we are living like in an hour, 2 hour window. So we all can get together like once or twice a year. Let's say have a Bombrance or guy romance or whatever you want to call it. Just have dinner or lunch, and Paul is gonna pay for the whole meal because he's as generous. But
yeah,
I think I'm joking.
We did the double last year at our house. We did Christmas Eve and Thanksgiving. We were warmed out. In fact, the day after, we went down to an AC. We got a room at the Borgata, $99 a night.
That's nice.
Stay down there for 3 days. Yeah, because in the winter there's not, and it's dead down. I mean, like once April starts or like that spring season open, then the prices jack up. Then you can't get a room for like under $400 or $500 a night down there. But it's winter time. At the you can get any of the Borgata, MGM, all those hotels, 119 a night down there. So that's what we did. We was like pack up, and all we did was just veg out. We didn't go to a lot of we just hung out in the room and did no plan. The only time we went out was to get something to eat, and we worked out in the morning. That was it. And we just kind of so yeah, it was definitely a way to kind of decompress from all that activity. But yeah, when we kind of get to this day, we still kind of get amped up for it. We like again bringing folks together. So that's just been something that
that's funny though. You mentioned the hotels, man. That's true, man. Me and the wife, man, we'll take 2 suitcases worth of wine and knickknacks and stuff and hit a hotel for like 4 days. Maybe scope out some restaurants in the area if the hotel has a good restaurant in it. Mm-hmm. But we'll stay in the room, man. We have it all lined up. Mm-hmm. Wine and this and that. We just chill, man. Room service, whatever. We just to get out of the house, and it's cool, man. I do that. We do that all the time. No, man, I got like 1 million points in I think IHG points.
Yeah.
Got 1 million points.
Wow.
Yeah, from working a lot of that time. I mean, I just got a lot of points, man. Yeah. I'm starting to use them a little bit, but they're
transferable.
They're transferable, but you got to transfer them. You lose a little bit, but they don't run out.
Gotcha.
Nice. So
yeah. So to get out of Dodge a little bit, that's cool. But we got about a half hour in the show. Actually, I wanted to kind of switch gears if I could. And again, this wasn't planned. I was actually having a little back and forth with BMU prior. I saw this clip that I saw, and I know Ghost, you kind of talked about a little bit when you were kind of like acting in a role like as a stepdad and dealing with the kids, and sometimes their attitude sometimes, and it got me thinking about this subject a little bit about again dealing as a step parent. So there was this clip from this film. And Boss Man, if you're still back there, if you want to show it, and again, this is fair use. So again, we mark this as fair use, and just want to talk about and get your feelings on this one. That see if you can talk about this a little bit. So here we go. Oh, will it play?
Yeah.
Wow. So I saw that. So I was going back for a black man. So, whose side did you pick in this exchange? I know, Sparta, you've had some experience. Again, you've dated, again, women with children. And let's say if you did take that move, that ultimate move, you marry her, what are the rules in your house in terms of discipline, corporal punishment, or however, you decide whether you excise corporal punishment or not? Did the guy have a point? I mean,
which guy?
Either guy. I mean, what
they
it
both
doesn't have to be one versus the other. I've heard this discussion several instances. If you're going to decide to become a stepfather, then it's like
I actually had
your rules, and it has to be your way of doing things or whatnot, and you got to raise them like your own.
They both have a point, though, but the actual problem is the woman.
That's okay.
The actual problem is the woman.
Go ahead, RP. Break it down.
She's the problem. I mean, because listen, she's the one who, listen, the guy in his house, he has rules, right? He should have rules, but the whole issue of corporal punishment is something that needs to be discussed. Even if the boy is breaking the rules, if she's allowing corporal punishment, that certainly has to be something that the father would have to agree with. He would have to agree with that. I mean, the real natural father would have to agree with it, or else you're going to have problems, right? So I don't care about a young boy getting punched to the chest every so often. I think they need to get their ass kicked, right? And lovingly. But this guy doesn't love her son, and by the way he's talking, she should know that. So she's the one who flexed and wanted to swirl with this guy, level up. So that's what she did. But he's not wrong in his house, but then she should give custody of the son to his father. And just go off into the sunset with your man and just create a new family. I think that's the easiest one. Now, and then the father is right, but he got goaded into hitting this dude, and the dude did that on purpose to get him out of the way if he's on probation. And they made sure that they said that in that piece, that this guy has baggage. You're right. So he reports that this guy's going back to jail and all that other shit. But I blame it on the woman. I blame a lot of it on the woman, because when you have a son, you have, and it's not worked out between the two men, she's the arbiter of that, right? She has to somehow put her foot down to her new guy that you can't touch my son. Or my son, if you can't live with my son and he's disrespectful, she's got to be willing to give that boy to his father. His natural father. And she's not willing to do that. She wants to be like most women, they want everything their way. Right? You can't have both, you can't have it all. So it's going to always be conflict, because in his house, the white man's house, and I say white man, that's only because he's a white dude, was the new husband, maybe say it that way. He's got a right to want rules in his house. He has a right to have that. But you can't hit my son. You can't, or my daughter for that matter. So it's a tough deal. But I blame a lot of the arbitration on the woman in terms of the fact that she didn't get that shit straight by moving on and trying to keep her son and bringing him into a house with another man. That's my take on it.
Ghost, what was your views? And we're seeing in the chat also. Certainly, we're seeing some we're seeing some pushback. Guys talk about you don't do that in my house. But then again, boss man is like, my house, my rules. So go.
Hey, okay, hey, Mr. Bennett.
Yes,
Can y'all hear me? Yeah, I'm at the gas station with my son. I had to chime in on this one real quick. Because let me tell you something. And I'm gonna be frank. If things don't work out with me and my wife, she moves on and marries a white guy, and my son called me and tell me this man then punched him in the chest, Mr. Bennett, there will not be any talking. Because like Arpain just said, me and you did not have a discussion about disciplining my child. So if you go off and then you're gonna look me in my face like I'm some kind of punk and tell me I'll do it to him again. Oh no, sir. No, sir. No, sir. I will beat the shit out of him all over that house, and I'm gonna punch him in the chest. As soon as I get there, I'm not talking. As soon as I get there, I'm punch him in the chest. As soon as I get there, because you had no business punching my son. Now, as a man, you want to call me and we have a sit down and we have a discussion or whatever. Like Boss Man said, his house is rule. If Boss Man married my ex and Boss Man punched my son in the chest, it's gonna be a problem. I'm gonna go to Boss Man house. We're gonna tear that motherfucker up.
Okay. Yeah, I mean that's certainly a view. Now, even
let me ask you this question, BMU: if the future husband of your ex-wife just grounded him, telling me he took his cell phone away, would you still beat the shit out of him?
No problem at all. But because I think when if you're co-parenting, I think all parents, if I marry someone new and she marries someone new, we all four should sit down and work out what's going to be best for the child when it comes to discipline. So we'll already have that at the beginning of all the relationships. We already have that in state. So if I tell you and you tell me, hey, I'm not gonna put my hands on your son, But if he does something, let's get together and discipline him, as a team across the board, then we're good. But if you just go off the rap and get a temper and punch my son in the chest, I'm gonna beat your ass.
And you have a great point there. I'm not disagreeing one bit. I will not back you up on 100% on that. The only time I will put a little pushback is if you were not in the picture at all, and that is a situation too. And then all of a sudden, oh, I'm here. You were gone for a year, and all of a sudden you're going to show up. Fuck you! Get the fuck out of my house.
I agree with that. I agree with that.
Those things were illustrated in the movie. So we got, for one thing, the guy obviously wasn't there. He said he wasn't there for 4 years. Where were you for the 4 years?
He was in jail.
This guy wasn't there.
Yeah, he was in jail.
Probably was in jail.
Yeah, he was in jail.
Just got out.
Mm-hmm.
And if I was to even give the stepfather the benefit of the doubt and says that the kid pushed him, so maybe he tried to talk to this kid, and then the kid gave him attitude, or he physically touched him first. Assuming he did, I don't know if he did or not. He might have just made that up again, just to spark the situation. But even if he did those things, you're saying that he still didn't have a right then to, if not punch him in the chest, to do something else. Would you tolerate that sort of disrespect even from your own kids if they came up on you like that?
If he would have left it there, Mr. Bennett, but he started saying shit after that, though.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I do.
Everything was precipitated on that incident with his son. That's what brought him over, and that's what.
No. But what I'm saying is, if he would have said, "Your son pushed me first," that's why it escalated, right? If he said that, but then he went on to say, "You're a bum. You're just a low rank N word." And if you were in here, he wouldn't have been like, he added all that shit at the end.
And then he said, I'll do it again. Oh, no, sir. No, sir. We have a problem. Mm-hmm. Oh, no, sir.
I agree with that 100%. Like, if if he's a kid, keep that in mind. Like, he pushed me. Don't push back because, to push doesn't mean equal right. So,
but if he would have left it there, Pete, if he would have just left it there, when he said that, I think he would have had a case. Your son, hit me when I was trying to tell him something. He pushed me. So, you know what? I gave him, I braced his ass, okay? But because of that. And if he would have left it there, said, let's just argue the fact that he put his hands on me first. But when he started to demean the dude and said, I'll do it again, I think he went overboard. That's all.
But now, BMU, just take our pain scenario. If it was just left there, that, hey, he pushed me for now again, but he said that, and then the black father, he still you kind of big deal that he pushed you. So he dismissed the claim, even if it was true. It's like, you should be a bigger man just because he pushed you. That doesn't give you the right to punch him in the chest. And some men would be like, oh no, in my house, you put your hands on me, I'm dropping you.
Yeah, right. I agree. I agree with that. I think for me, Mr. Bennett, y'all don't laugh at me, okay? Because God's really working on me, okay? but for me, and no offense to you, Peter, I think it would be PTSD for me. I think that if my son called me and told me a white man punched him in the chest, I think that it would be really, really bad.
So put a percentage on this then. All right, in terms of where your angst is. How much of this is because it was a white man that put it on your son? If it was a brother, or something, if it was a brother who did exact same scenario,
I got a better one.
Going over there with that same smoke for that guy because he punched your son in the chest. Is it still going down? And he told you the same thing. Look, you've been in prison 4 years, you haven't been here. So get out of my house. If he came with you with that kind of smoke, it's still going down, is it not?
I don't care what color he is, Mr. Bennett. I think I would drive faster if it was a white man. I'll probably stop at every red light if it was a black man. But I'm gonna get it fast. I'm coming. It really ain't gonna matter. It's not.
I'll give you that. The only reason I'm giving you a freebie for this one because you're on the best show on YouTube. That's all I'm gonna say. I'll leave it there.
So BMU is funny. It's funny, BMU, that you mentioned that, is because I've been in that situation where I have had to have a conversation with my stepson's father, after I've had to put a burden on his son. And after doing so, that conversation was just man-to-man conversation of here's what happened, here's what your son, but here's the thing. He's in my house and I am taking care of 80 to 90% of the situation between your biological but my stepson. And so here's the deal. Here's what happened. Here's the situation. Now, before I step into the picture fully, I had a conversation to sit down with him and told him that I am always going to mean well with him, by him, and for him. And we had a conversation, man to man. We had a relationship before I even met his son. And so once I got into the picture fully, we used to just pick up the phone and just chat, he and I. So we had a kind of sort of an engagement, type of, interaction. But I disciplined fully and unadulterated, for the most part. And my rules is my rules, and how I discipline is how I discipline. And if that's not the case, and if you don't like that, then you can come get your son for the most part, if that's the case, because I am taking on the brunt of responsibility based on the situation that you failed at. So if you don't like it, then you can take over the situation with your son. So with that, however, I was respectful and I was managed.
Hold on, boss man. Because you got a kid. Because you got a kid right now, right?
Correct.
Boy, right?
Correct.
Now you love your son, don't you?
Correct.
Now if you and your wife don't work out, hypothetically speaking, here nothing real. I'm just saying, you and she meet me, and I'm Big Daddy BMU, and your son running around the house, and he break one of my prized possessions, and he bump into me, and I 3-piece him. What's gonna be the conversation?
What conversation is there to be had? And that's
exactly my point. You're not gonna want to have no conversation. We're gonna tear that motherfucker up.
See, that's what you assume. Okay, so let's understand something. Let's tailor the conversation. Obviously, we're not talking about bruises and beating and bruises and being abusive in that type of situation like that. Okay, but obviously, we're talking about men. And we're talking about young men, and that process is not nice. That process is not soft. Let's put it that way.
Well, at least it shouldn't be.
It can look nasty, okay, and it can look like a bear, kind of sort of mauling to some degree a baby cub to teach a lesson. Sometimes it can look that way, right? Okay, but they come out better for it. And it doesn't look like that all the time, but sometimes you kind of need a hammer sometimes, a proverbial one, obviously, right? Now, after that, we're not talking about, just over something so simple and minuscule, obviously. But if that's your response to something so minuscule, then we can have a conversation, sure. But if that is how you handle your household, I have no bounds to step into.
But boss man, was part of your conversation that you would apply corporal punishment?
Yes.
See, that's the point. I mean, if he agrees to that, that's different than him.
He had no choice but to agree. He had
no. But before you go on about him having no choice,
sure.
The fact is that he did have a choice. Right? The situation just wouldn't have been that the kid could move in with you. But the fact is that one, his wife or his ex would have a say in where the kid goes. So he might not have had a choice other than to be bitter if he didn't agree with that terms. Now, if you would have still took her in and her kid in, and he was opposed to corporal punishment, then that means there's nothing you could say. You're going to fight him every time you hit his kid. If he didn't agree to that, if he didn't agree.
Let me jump in here. Boss man, let me ask you a question.
Sure.
Were you cool with your current wife's ex? Are you guys cool?
Were we or are we? Was the question.
Are you and were you both?
Are we? No. Were we? Yes.
Okay. So that's the difference. You were cool. You had the ground for a lot of people, including myself. I have never been cool with any of my exes. I had I want to literally pop the head like a goddamn fucking stick most of the time, most of those guys. So the one situation with my ex, I had to put hands on the child was when I found out he was 17, he was pushing his girlfriend around and my ex told me this, I'm going to handle this my way now. I went to her. She goes, do whatever you want. Just make sure he's able to walk away from the situation. I go, fair enough. So I literally slammed him against the fridge. I go, how do you like it? He didn't say a word. Now he learned his lesson the hard way. I'm not saying that's every situation should be like that, but a lot of times most men are not cool with him. It's hard to even have this conversation because every situation are different.
Yes.
One situation like yours is you were cool with him at one time and you know the ground rules you guys put together. My situation with my ex, I never spoke to the guy. I never want to speak to the guy. And I told her straight up, he shows step on property. I'm calling the cops and pressing, trespassing. Simple. I don't care if you're ex or not. I want him to put in handcuffs on him, or I'm going to put him in the grave. That's the two options we have.
So I literally pushed for that connection. I literally wanted to have that sit down with him.
Mm-hmm.
That wasn't something that my wife orchestrated. That wasn't something that he orchestrated. It's something that I wanted to orchestrate because first of all, I wanted to understand the entirety of the situation, number one, before I walked into anything. But then two, I wanted to make sure that before I take the reins of his son, I wanted to make sure that my intentions were established, and I wanted to make sure that things were copacetic between two men. I don't know where I got that from, but I just felt that was correct.
It is correct. That's part of the vetting
right.
process.
And so
that has to be part of the vetting process.
And now, with that in mind, I'll just say this, and then I'll end it. My wife also gave me full reins, also, and trust, and to be able to parent and to reprimand without stepping in and getting in the way, also. So there was trust and understanding on both aspects, to understand that I meant well and there was a purpose and a plan and an honest love and intent towards my stepson, is how I took it and say it.
See, you know what, boss man, you know what you just said is great, but this is one of the things I don't think we talk enough about when people make their comments about taking on a woman with kids. Even whether you have kids or not, as a man, you're not in a relationship with just her. You got to have a relationship with her ex. And that part of it makes it so unattainable to me. I can't imagine doing that. Right. I mean, and I never did, but because in a good step parenting relationship, when the father is active in any kind of way, you can't have just a relationship with the woman. You got to have a relationship with her ex. And that's that part of it is like, man, why would I want to start something like that? But that's just me. But some people, some men could do it. But
R-Pain, was this even a conversation maybe 60 years ago?
Yeah, but you know what? I think it was. It wasn't a conversation, but I don't know that. I think it wasn't just assumed. I think it was easier to have that relationship with the ex because it just seemed like the stepdaddies of the past, the woman somehow was a better woman. They appreciated it. And a lot of times the ex was nowhere to be found. That's why they were alone. And these guys were doing really a civic duty. And I think the women respected the stepdads of the past. That's just really not true today.
Right. But I don't know if it was a conversation, like, let's say if she was a widow, right? And she had kids.
Well, widows are different.
Right. I'm just saying, but even like now, even in the same situation, if you're a widow or whatever, the woman oftentimes today's woman will still say, I don't want you beating my kids or whatever. Was
Right.
that even a discussion 60 years
Oh,
ago
that part
or
of it,
back in the
no.
day?
No.
Or the idea is if it was a step situation, maybe divorce or whatever, okay, I got to have a conversation with your
No.
ex or whatever. It's
I
like,
don't
no, if
think
I
it
take
was.
you on, I'm
Right.
taking all this. And the woman complied with, that's the way it is. In the clip, and you even said yourself, the woman was part of the issue
I think
in
so.
that she allowed that situation to escalate. I don't know how well she was even watching her son. If her son was engaging in drugs in the
Exactly.
house and everything, and then the she didn't do a lot of mediation between her new husband and her ex or whatever that so there was a lot of things that weren't picked up where it's like back in the day it was like if a guy was going to marry a woman with kids in the 50s or whatever that time period was, that golden era that everyone talks about, it wouldn't have been a discussion. He's the man, his house or whatever. If he's got to beat you, whip, belt, whatever it was, that's just the way it was. You
The
understood.
women were different back then.
But now it's like everything is a choice, and that's part of the confusion because there weren't no clear boundaries in terms of what could and what could not happen. So.
And well, you're right, and I agree. But back then, there was still culture. There was still environmental factors. There still was shame. There still was all kinds of shit that governed the way we dealt with each other. That's all gone now. It's all gone now.
It was a different time back then. Can we all agree on that for a second here?
Yeah.
Right.
Okay, well, I'll be honest with you guys. Like, if he came up to me and said, "Listen, what happened to my ex between is between me and her, well, whatever. But I want to talk to you as a man about my kids." Okay, sit down. Let's have a conversation.
Right.
And
But
I
go
would
back
have
to
to
that.
do
Go
that.
back to
You
that
have to
scenario
do
Pete,
that.
that you
I
talked
mean-
about with the son. So you say you pushed up against the wall. What if he pushed? What if he retaliated?
he wouldn't.
What if he did?
He wouldn't. Trust me.
So fucking boss, man. Just play along, brother.
If he did, if he swung at me, and it most likely he's gonna miss, or I'm gonna block it, I'm gonna swing even harder. She told me, as long as he walks away, you can do whatever you want.
Like you got to be able to pew.
I mean, I'm not trying to be derogatory. I'm just saying it's necessary if you're going to take on an active father in a stepson's life. You have to have a relationship with him.
Mhm.
You can't get
I
it
had
wrong.
a decent relationship with all of them, but I looked at her like, listen, I'll speak to him first. Spoke to him, continues doing it. I know he thinks he was joking, but it wasn't joking. When you're pushing a female around, like people don't see like that. And I saw him do it. Like, okay, he's pushing a little bit too hard. I'm like, dude, you got to back off. If you're gonna joke around a different way. You're 17. You know any better? Like whatever. And continues doing it. I'm hearing this from his brother and two sisters. Okay, now I'm gonna have a problem. And I looked at her like, listen, what do you want to do? I'm like, if you want me to get involved more than I already have, tell me how far. She goes, well, as long as he walks away, you can do whatever you want. I want to.
But what happened to his father? Where was his father in all of this?
He only cared about making money. He didn't give a shit. He was in New York. He never came up. Like the only time, even for his graduation, he never showed up. He wasn't even there for his own birth.
Oh, so that's different. No, he wasn't around.
Yeah. I mean,
I just think that if you had, that's why I'm being real
only
specific.
time-
If you have an active father, an active one,
Mhm.
and you take on the ex-girlfriend and you marry or whatever you want to do with her, you got to have a relationship with the dude, man.
no question.
Yeah, so he in his situation, and I'll have to talk about this on my own segment, but
Okay.
he was active, and then all of a sudden, and I'm speaking on this in a situation of I've spoken to him about their situation. So because I didn't get one side of the story, I didn't get her side, I got both of their sides and
Mhm.
confirmed before I made any decision. So he was active, and then he dipped. And she waited for, I think, a year for him to, turn back around, come back, fix things, whatever the case may be. And no, he just dipped and left. And so she didn't take it, she couldn't take it anymore, or she gave him multiple options, multiple chances to come back and resolve. When I mean dipped, I mean literally they were living together and then he dipped, literally. And so and again, I confirmed this with him and he confirmed. So that's what happened. And so when I came into the picture, he then wanted to kind of sort of resurface again, but he was kind of on the outskirts, already. She had already kind of sort of moved on already, but they were already in the process of because in the state that I'm in, you have to be when you have children, you have to separate for a period of time before when you're doing an uncontested divorce. So, and that's what they agreed to. So with that in mind, yes, he wanted to be active when someone else came into the picture.
Of course.
But as long as she was, roughing it out, sticking it out, and waiting for him, whatever, as long as he had the quote unquote power in a sense, he was perfectly fine just being.
So, but boss man, can we take it from you and your personal situation, just in general? Let's not talk about your personal situation, but you would agree that if in any way the stepfather, if he had a son or a daughter, and you took on a woman, that you have to have that relationship with him, good, bad, or indifferent, right?
I agree. I agree, because the moment that he wanted to be a part of, I left the door open for him to basically be as active as he needed and wanted and desired to be. You're absolutely right. I think if the biological wants to be active, there has to be a triad of a co-parenting mingling situation. Yes.
Right. Yeah. And is there a certain level that he has to earn? Because again, the question was raised earlier that, he should have had, the father should have had custody already. If he's just getting out of prison, if he's still on parole, I mean, what would qualify him just because he's biological that he should even have that right or not? So I still, so shouldn't there be a level that you should be able to see where this guy would have the umption to have that conversation with you? If the guy hasn't been active, if he hasn't been around, especially in the scenario that you were saying, I would think he would have to build up some credibility with you to even have that conversation. Boss man, if you want to take that one, or anybody else for that matter.
I would say, objectively speaking, on that one, if the judge is looking at which parent has the ability to have custody at that time, if one parent is incarcerated at the point in time, then by default that other parent would naturally get custody. But if both parents are removed or indisposed by some form of fashion, then it would go to another familial source, or go to states, obviously, right. State resources. But in this case, no, he wouldn't have any rights per se because he was incarcerated. Now, upon his return, there would be no way for him to be able to automatically assume without reestablishing himself to some standard, to some degree, through the same legal and court system that established who had custodial rights.
Well, not custodial though, just boss man and Mr. Bennett. As soon as he got out of jail, his blood was enough for him to have say.
No.
Yes. Wait a minute. No. Let me just say this. Wait a minute. I'm not saying in terms of taking a kid over, but that's still his kid. But especially if he's on a hook to pay some kind of child support, the state says he has some. If he was absolved of any rights for the kid, that's one thing. But as soon as he got out and got a job, if he was on child support, he would have to pay.
Unfortunately, that's not how that works. So let's say, all things being fair and all things being equal, if two parents, both father and mother, sign the birth certificate, then they both are assigned dual custodialship, right?
Okay.
But then if for some reason, if primary or percentile custodialship is assigned by the legal system more to the other one, one has more rights, quote unquote rights, more than the other one. And so in this case, in their case, 100% custodial parental rights were bestowed to the mother in the case because his rights were paused because of the fact that he was
Jail.
incarcerated. So
Okay.
therefore, his blood rights did not, his naturalized rights did not matter because
We're
the
talking about
judicial
when he
rights.
got out of jail, though. When he got out of
It didn't matter because it was already established. The custodial rights are
So you're
established
saying that
until they're
so he
changed.
doesn't have to pay child support either then.
No, he probably still does once he get out. But I'm certain that there was no child support necessarily established while he was incarcerated, and probably more than
I'm talking
likely
about
now
after
that
he's
he's
out
out.
of jail, though. I'm talking about after he's out of
Right.
jail.
And now that he's out, they probably are going to end up having to readjust what those
That's fine.
custodial rights would look like. Yeah.
That's what I'm
Well,
talking
right, and
about.
even in the
And
clip,
so
the
the judgment
father's-
that he was deadbeat for 4 years or however long he was incarcerated is one thing, but after he got out of jail and he's on probation, he's getting back into good standings with the state.
Right.
So the fact that his blood matters. So he might not have custodial rights, or he can't say shit. But if they're starting to charge the man child support, he's going to be able to have. It just doesn't make any sense for him just to be okay. I'm paying my whatever $2 a month to the chick. I see my son; he's growing up. Maybe I can see him maybe I can. I don't know. But
So
if something happened to her, that his blood would be next in line.
So what will happen there is that you can be assigned you can be assigned or they're called obligors, statutorily speaking. You could be an obligor without any custodial rights. Okay. And you can be an obligor with custodial rights. It just depends on the particular situation and depends on what was ruled. Now, with that in mind, you're right in the sense that if something were to happen to her, then they would naturally look for whoever has any familial ties. And of course, the biological parent that's next in line would obviously be the next person to kind of assess by the statutory system or the legal system. Obviously, yeah, I agree with that. But when the statutes comes in and says who has 100% custodialship, if you will, new word, it trumps any type of blood familial standing, if you will. Yeah.
But I don't know if that answers your question, Mr. Bennett. I'm not sure.
Well, listen, this is obviously, and again, I literally threw this on just before showtime. So obviously, we're not gonna. I think if we had the full 2 hours, I don't know if we'd be able to flesh this out. But maybe this could be a seed for other shows. I know, Boss Man, you talked about possibly fleshing this out on your show. We have Flipping Tables on Tuesday, or Payne, you might want to take a segment. But this could be a part of a larger conversation. All right,
I think it could be.
We've heard in this space for several years now. So we've been in space about, no, don't be a stepdad. It's the worst deal and things of that nature. And in a clip like that could be certainly
And Paul, be
a
honest,
conversation piece. Yeah.
Yeah, I'm actually gonna be posting very soon. Stepdad versus real dad. So that's the show I'm coming up on my
So
channel.
we can
too.
wait. So this could be a spin-off. Could be like the domino that kicks off a lot of different conversations with different audiences and different panels.
No doubt
So
about
we
it.
can definitely talk about this. But again, I certainly could see both sides of it,
Right.
especially if you didn't have an involved parent, and for me, the thing that gets lost is that the kid was involved in drug activity.
Right.
That had not the stepdad got in, nobody would have known about it because everybody seemed to be in the dark about what this kid was doing.
Right.
And so when confronted, that kind of gets tossed. Only how the kid was treated, not necessarily the road or the associations or anything that went with that. And that oftentimes get lost in the conversation because everybody's emotions are so raw over how they're feeling over things. But the kid obviously has been doing stuff. So I think that this is certainly something that could be, again, a conversation starter on, again, these type of relationships for those who have successful ones where you have a successful parenting partnerships. I know my man, I'm having a brain freeze right now.
Tom Brady had one.
No, in these spaces, not E-Money, the big guy.
A lot of big guys
Shaq?
out
What's that?
You're not talking about Shaq, are you?
No, no,
What-
no. In these spaces here, he's a frequent guest on a lot of
Oh,
shows.
you
He's
talking
married
about
to
Either
an-
Man?
Either Man. He's married to an agent. He's got a
Right.
a decent relationship with his wife's
Wife,
ex
wife,
and things
father.
like that. So
I mean,
again,
yeah.
there's positive ways these can work, but again, you're also going to have different philosophies. If you are a staunch corporal discipline type person, and the other person is not or whatever, then that could be problematic for a relationship going forward. Those are certainly things where you may not be able to come to terms with the proper way of doing things if you have a certain philosophy. So hopefully we can have that in conversation. But I think the thrust of this conversation tonight has been about, at the end of the day, it's been about families, and holidays are supposed to sort of represent the best of these families getting together, where they can recognize and honor each other as family. And what we're seeing here is, with the breakdown of the core family in general, holiday gatherings are less pleasant, or less frequent, or less attended. And we're even seeing in mixed family situations, there's problems. So at the end of the day, we still have these issues with, again, how can you get families fixed in whatever configuration that it may come in order for people to produce, hopefully, healthy, functioning adults. And again, I can tell you, we've talked a lot in these spaces. You can go back about percentage of it. Stop. We've covered some of those subjects too in other spaces and whatnot. So again, you can go back and go look at those, or we may have to bring that up again and dust some of the dust off of that. But I first, I just want to thank Solar Art Payne for certainly joining the conversation tonight. BMU, I knew I would get your blood boiling a little bit. My man was at a gas station. My man said, "Hold on, I gotta pull over and I got to join this conversation." Boss man, thank you for your contribution to this as well. And the chat, which has been very lively tonight. Again, Edward Gilbert and Milani, Catelia, Lady Navoa stopped in here tonight. My man Eric was here earlier. So for everyone who participated tonight, certainly we appreciate you being here and being part of this conversation. And certainly looking forward to another one. But we're going to have the closing thoughts. So certainly Art Payne, again, thank you for joining us tonight. Any closing thoughts on either the first topic on holidays or anything you want to talk about before the show, and also plug what you got coming up on your show?
Yeah, I think that we just touched on a little bit, but I think that we talk about baby mamaism a lot, but the angle of the relationship you have to have with the outside person, whether it's a man or a woman, right? The biological father or mother, if you're in a step relationship. I think that's a whole conversation in itself, because it has to happen, right? It just has to happen in order for you to have a good relationship with the person you're marrying. So that's a good conversation. Because you don't have to point fingers. It's just a natural thing where it needs to be discussed, because there's going to be all kinds of spectrums of how that could happen. And even tomorrow, I'm going to do a Pop the Balloon. It's a reunion show. I guess a recap, right? The two people who met each other, they're coming back and they're going to talk about how the date went. But I'm going to start out with the dynamics of how they got together first, just shortly, so you can see a little bit of who they are. And then when they're sitting down with Arlette, how the date went, and then you'll see the dynamics of how they treated each other afterwards.
Right.
I think it's really interesting about these two people and how they saw things differently from the woman to the guy. And I think that's all right. So I'm going to do that tomorrow. It's an easier show as opposed to talking about politics and all that other stuff, numbers and shit. So
again,
we should have some fun with that.
Absolutely. So again, definitely go and join
tomorrow, 7.
Filter tomorrow, 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, but also his own channel, Marriage, Politics, and Sports. If you're not subscribed to him, definitely subscribe to his channel. Hit the likes on his, so he gets some love as well. But again, certainly we appreciate him in these spaces. Ghost of Sparta, your closing thoughts on this topic.
First topic, I would say, like I said originally, like, you should not base holidays about gifts or anything else. It should be there loving, caring, and getting fat. The other one about the father, it depends on the situation. It's real hard. This is an argument of millennials. No offense, our pain. But it's just something we're going to be talking forever about. You might say X, Y, and Z. I'm excited. It's different situation. So you don't know until you're in that situation. And I never say you're never going to be a stepdad or date a woman with kids. You're full of shit if you say that. So except that, as always, make sure you hook a brother up for my birthday. I want a lot of subscribers tonight.
No, but actually, no. We're starting a FundMe campaign tonight for Peter. Again, he wants to skydive. So again, it's very expensive. So we need to start a fundraising so that he goes to Sparta. He can live. We can live vicariously through him. Because I don't know about you, our pain.
You can just send me a cash app. Just send me a cash app. It's fine.
I'm not
drop a
jumping
cash app to Grooming and Reviews 101. You can certainly contribute.
More power to you, grooming.
We'll watch the,
I
we'll watch
don't
the
think your
video.
heart can survive the skydive. Like, I'm like, like what happened to our pain? He's dead.
Absolutely.
Yeah, yeah, it's just got to survive the stress test I'm gonna have in December. So
No,
I'm not jumping out no damn plane.
Definitely.
You mean this
Well,
month?
prayers for you, that you get a good report on that.
Yeah, I mean,
that
I've
test.
had it before. I mean, it's routine with the rest of the stuff they're doing, man.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
Well, again, just want to thank you guys again. Thank you, chat. Another successful edition of the Gray Area. Really appreciate
show
you guys.
on
Iron Mist-
YouTube.
Yeah. Go ahead.
Best
Who you-
show on YouTube. Best
The
show
best.
on YouTube.
Hashtag the best show on YouTube and on the BMU network. And but for myself, Mr. Bennett, he is our pain of Marriage, Politics, and Sports 101, and he is
This is Sparta!
the Ghost of Sparta, aka Peter, aka This is the Gray Area. You guys have a great week. Take care. God bless. We'll see you next time.
All right, guys, another one in the books. Another great episode on the Black Man Unfiltered Network. Listen, we're doing the thing over here. So, guys, do me a favor. Hit the like button, hit the subscribe button, hit the share button. Also, if you want to donate to the channel, which helps the channel, hit your boy Cash App. It's scrolling right here, right there, at the bottom of the screen. And support the channel. But we're happy that you're here, and we look forward to seeing you on every episode. So hit the notification button so you know when we go live. Thank you again, guys, for watching. We out.